Here's another update on the K10. Since all it ever does is rain in Florida, figured I'd get the motor done. I tore it apart and it's a brand new motor. It's one of them GM Goodrich motors. It's got new brass freeze plugs in there. It's a 30 over 350. Still has all the crosshatch in the cylinders, no lip at the top. It was basically spotless inside, no kind of sludge buildup, no nothing. So I couldn't justify tearing it apart, though I just got a gasket kit for it. Chrome oil pan, chrome valve covers, air cleaner. Ended up getting the Edelbrock Performer RPM intake for it. I was going to do the motor black, but I think I'm going to do it the dark Ford gray, just like the transmission and transfer case. The heads I painted with the aluminum looking paint. I don't think it looks too bad. It looks pretty good. It has 882 casting heads on there. It might make it a little over 300 horsepower. Maybe 350 to 370 on the torque. It's not an animal, but it'll work. It ran good. Had a decent cam in there when it was running. So, good enough. What's the worst that could happen? It blows up. I build another one. I switched out the clutch on it because I didn't know what kind of clutch they had in it. And given the condition of the stuff, I elected to just replace it since it was out. So, the clutch is the Ram Power Grip clutch. It's a 12-inch clutch with a Ram steel flywheel. Figure, I got that in the Mustang. I might as well put it in the truck. I like the Ram clutches. That covers that. I couldn't find a dust cover for one of these transmissions, so I had the steel already. It's like 2mm thick steel plate. So I made my own. Laid a plate on there, traced it out, got it, and then just kind of notch it down for the crank and oil pan so it has clearance. So I tried to keep it as tight up against there as I could. And then for the starter hole, I used my brake gauge. It's just a regular Steelman brake gauge. I use this mostly for body gaps, body panel gaps, make sure they're the same from one side to the other side. It's in millimeters. I don't think I've ever measured brakes with it before, but so get it. Tells me at a distance that I can kind of get an idea of how far over I needed to go. Rough cut the hole, and then just kind of test fit it with the starter on the block and get it all set up, and then use my porting bit to make it into a round circle and then a straight side for the starter. So that covers that. Gets it done. At least I got a dust cover. As far as the bushing, the pilot bushing, I did the grease method to get it out. I didn't think it would work. I watched the YouTube video of people doing it. I was like, there ain't no way that works. It does work. Pack grease in there with a rod and a hammer and it pops it out. I would have never believed it until I saw it. We can see how mangled it is. I don't know what they used to put it in there with. So, the new one, put it in the freezer overnight, and then I used my harmonic balancer tool and took the bevel, put it in there, came out here, hit it a couple times with a 3-pound hammer, slid in there just fine, and used the clutch alignment tool to verify that the hole isn't distorted. No distortion, so that works good. So that's taken care of. On the bell housing, this thread was stripped out. I think when I tore it apart there was only 3 bolts holding it in there anyways. So I ended up drilling them all out. They all got switched out to 7/16 grade 8 bolts. And then I got the nut with the built-in washers. Same thing with the bolt. Then it'll just get clamped together versus bolted together. So solves that issue. If you wanted to, you could still reach over here with a wrench. You just need a long wrench. But I bolted the bell housing to the transmission and then assembled the transmission to the engine. And then put a transfer case on and then roll it outside and paint it outside. Because I don't paint it in the garage. Front bearing retainer is messed up. Bottom of it shaped like a U. So I'm waiting for that to come in from LMC. But once I can get it up off the ground and get the new gaskets on there, new side plate gaskets, all these gaskets, transfer case gaskets, I'll start replacing the gaskets as I put it together. But transfer case is cleaned up, transmission is cleaned up, so I'll be ready to get painted. I painted the inside, so it looks good, looks fancy. If anyone somehow, some way looked up in there, they'd be like, oh man, it's beautiful Ford gray paint you got on your Chevy transmission. For the truck, pull the front clip off. I got the hood on. I got my post to hold the hood up. I ended up taking the post and stick them into the radiator support rod. Then I'll roll the truck forward into the drive line and assemble it from there. I got most of the frame is in there. All your cross members, energy suspension, motor mount, transmission mounts. I only had one bolt per side holding the transmission cross member in when I got the truck, so I'll have to figure out where to drill the holes once everything is in there. But new bolts, new brake lines. I even painted the proportioning valve, repainted that black. New bolts for that in there. That's the spacer for the bumper to bring it up higher. It's a matter of notching the frame because as you go up you hit the frame, so the frame's kind of notched in the front to be able to bring it up. Everything's bolted and torqued in there. I got the off-road design steering box brace. I have the one piece is in there, and then I still kept the factory one. You just kind of wiggle it in there and you get it to bolt in or rivet in, however you want to do it. But those go together. That's the off-road design brace itself. We're getting there. More of the brackets are on there. I had to find wherever I put those. It took me a little over an hour to find out where I stuck those brackets. Cleaned them up, painted them. The Firebird radiator support rods, I cut it in half, and the factory little notch that's in there, this is the second bolt over, just use that bolt and the nut that's already there, and the rod is slotted so you can add tension to the bed. It's nice and solid. You just gotta drill a hole there. So that gets rid of that rusted piece that was in there. I still gotta fix this a little bit of rusted, but the bracket that actually holds the bed was pretty much rusted away. I figured the rod would be easier, but then it matches the rod in the front. So fixed the tailgate mechanism. It was all in the handle. The handle was bent, so I fixed that. Still gotta take it back apart because I need the little clips for the rods. So when it's back together, then I'll repaint everything, but it's got a base coat of paint on there. I didn't get real crazy. It's the inside of the bed, so I just kind of sanded it down and sprayed it. Sure it'll get scratched, but I ended up painting the whole inside of the bed will be tan, and then the bottom will be the roll-on bed liner. I got inside the doors are painted. At least that's done. A little bit closer. And I got my little holes in there. That way when I do put the power window motor in there, I can just drop it in there and do the bolts. versus taking everything out as one assembly and then putting it. No. I just drilled the holes because I have the piece that actually goes there, and I want to keep that piece. So I didn't care about drilling the holes. But at least it makes it easy if the power window goes bad. Just reach through there and take it out and pull it out through the hole, put another one in there. Simple enough. That's the update. Yeah, it's getting there.